Hi, this is Akela, and I am on location in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. My guest today is a person of interest and one to be on the lookout for. He is my friend, my business associate, and my part time boss. And this young man is just steps away from becoming a self made millionaire. Now, I asked a question: what does a college student, an entrepreneur, and a 27-year-old man all have in common? Well, join me now as I talk with Bronson Williams, and we'll find out together. We're live on location in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Bronson, thank you so much for inviting me here. I know you're a very busy man. I know more than anybody that you're busy. You go to school, you have three establishments that you run single handedly. Of course, you do have staff, but you're the master head behind it. But we're going to know more about that because I think you have other people behind the scenes, like family members running the show. But anyway, we're at your Promised Land Child Care Center right here now. So, Bronson, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, who is Bronson, and describe yourself.
Well, that's kind of a difficult question for me to answer because I don't want to talk so well about myself that people say, oh, he's got this big ego, and so then you don't want to talk so humble because then they say, oh, he's fake, So you deal with all those different issues when you talk about who I am or who we are as individual people. But one thing I would like to say about myself is I think that I know when to stop and I kind of know when to go, and so I'm not afraid to fail. So if you say who is Bronson, Bronson's a person who will take a risk. Bronson's a person who's not afraid to fail because I understand throughout history and throughout what I've read that some of the greatest things that we have today is because people took that risk, was willing to fail, and in that failure you learn something. You learn something about yourself, you learn something about others, and then you know how to progress and move forward.
Okay. What kind of family roots do you have here in Rocky Mount?
Of course, I'm from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, born here in 1986. Actually, I was born in Tarboro, but of course, my family's from Rocky Mount, so that's where we stayed. I don't know how I got to Tarboro. But anyway, that's another story. But Heritage Hospital in Tarboro does no longer exist now. But of course, mothers here, fathers here, aunts, uncles, grandparents, both grandparents, paternal and maternal grandparents are both still living. My One of my grandparents, my grandfather, he's a pastor of a church. And so my mom, of course, she helps me out here at that Promised Land Child Care Center. My grandmother actually helps me out at the radio station. So there's a lot of everything. It's just, you definitely want to keep family involved because that's who reared you up. So why do you forget them?
So then you are a Christian?
Of course,
Okay. So then you know exactly where your help comes from.
all day long. And
All right.
that's what is that? Psalms 121. I look to the hills from which cometh my help. Knowing my help comes from God.
Let's talk business for a while.
Okay.
All right. So how old were you when you started working?
Wow, when I started working, it had to be like 14 and a half years old. I remember
14 and a half?
14 and a half. North
So
Carolina, you
did
can
they
work.
call child labor?
No. 14 and a half, you can work in North Carolina with a worker's permit.
Okay.
So my dad and I went down to the Department of Social Services, and we got a worker's permit. They had to sign off. I think a caseworker or something had to sign off. Somebody had to sign off on it, and then the employee had to sign off on it and give me permission to work at such an early age. But it was only during the summertime, so it was like I was working during the day, or as soon as I got home from school or something like that. When school got back in, the work deceased, basically, dissolved.
So what was your vision then working 14 and a half years old? Did you have to work or you just wanted to
Oh, I
work?
wanted to work. My mom didn't want me to work, not at all. And I think the more she didn't want me to work, the more I wanted to work and want to stay as much as I can. Yeah, I stay extra hours. I didn't care. Go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and get off at 8 o'clock at 9 o'clock at night. Didn't care. It was
At
something
14
cool.
and a half.
Oh, sure. Sure, it was something cool to do. It was better to sit at the house. I think the city gives young people an opportunity to do something positive and constructively with their lives at such an early age.
So then at what point did you have your own business?
My own legal business, or
Yeah.
just own business in general? Because I think I had a business that might not have been legal or something. Oh, well, I can say the word legal, but maybe not recognized by the state of North Carolina. There was some years ago that I went to Walmart or someone bought me a little cash box to kind of keep money instead of keeping it in a piggy bank, keeping it in a cash box. And so from that, it has like a little register type of feel to it because you open it, got little things where you put the bill money in, you got to change drawers there. So from that, I kind of opened up a little
Cash box store.
Cash box store. I guess that's what you would kind of say. Where I was selling little hug juices and things from a local wholesale store where I would go and get some different things and sell those. Whether it be airheads or pickles or snow cones, all that good stuff. I was selling it there, right there out of my bedroom. My room actually incidentally had a door that goes straight to the outside. So some of my friends from the neighborhood would come and say, "Hey, I want this." So instead of going to the store, I was meeting them halfway before they had to pass my house to get to the store.
Okay, all right. From cash box to City of Rocky Mount to your internet business to TV to radio. Where did you go next? Real estate or childcare?
Oh, let me tell you this. And at this time, I wasn't even 18, okay?
Oh, my goodness. So you did all of this under the age of 18.
Wow. Yeah, that's very crazy. So when daycare was next, but daycare was a little bit later on. It was about 2-3 years ago. It was in 2010 that I got into the daycare business, Promised Land Child Care Center in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And that's when I got into that. And then, while in daycare, kind of started getting into the real estate business just a little bit.
And all of this still what age frame?
I have opened up anything new since 2011, I would say. So at that time, I guess I was, 24-ish, 23, 24.
And all of this entrepreneurship going on.
Yes, indeed.
And still in school, a college student, right?
Sometimes I was sometime a college student, so I would go a semester, maybe off a semester. Here recently in 2013 January, I actually enrolled back into school full time as a full-time student, and so I hope to graduate in December of 2013.
Okay, fast forwarding, changing the subject just a little bit. Now I understand that you are a debatable human being. Sometimes you and I will get into debates.
Sure.
Sometimes they will be heated debates.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And then you would come here at the radio station and talk about it. Why do you do that?
Why do I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do I do that? That's a good question. But I think the way to answer that is that things that we may have in interpersonal conversation. I think that God has given me the gift of a platform through mass media to get words out, messages out, and what have you. So what may benefit individuals in interpersonal relationships, also I think we can expand for it outwardly, and it maybe help somebody else along the way who may be dealing with situations or just putting an ideal in their head and maybe give them something to think about.
We've talked about Bronson Williams, the young entrepreneur, all of the things that you've done since 14 and a half to 18, now 27. Now, let's talk about your education.
Sure. I'm currently enrolled in Escalade, East Carolina University. I started there in 2005, took a sabbatical from here and there. Of course, my husband graduated by 2009. That's 4 years. But, some people may graduate by 2010 because they needed extra to get some extra stuff out of, so to speak.
So you dropped out of school?
Oh, I was just dropping out. It was just taking a break from school. Because I think a person who drops out of school just never goes back or never even plan to go back. But there was plans for me to always go back to school and finish that which I started, but it had to be in the right time and season. And so January 2013 was that right time and season for me to re-enroll in school and to complete that which I started out with. Again, talking about what I started out with, I started out with video production, so I'm doing very much what you were doing today. I remember taking a field video class in which we had to go out and record different things. I had to make a little 3-minute music video actually, and make it sync. The audio had to sync with the video. It had partners, so it just wasn't a solo thing. I had to work with different people in the class, and I was dealing with their schedules and conflicts. This and the third. So time management was important there, and then also getting the tools together to be sure we were successful in doing what we were doing. But now I went back to school, and they don't offer it anymore. So in January 2013, so all these courses I taken for video field production or video production is no longer offered. But now I'm doing media studies. So we're talking about the effects that media has on people. So in watching this type of media, what type of effect will it have on your buying behavior? Or what type of effect will it have on your stereotyping behavior? Or the different things in fear cues versus any other type of cues, enthusiastic cues. What gets people out to the polls. So we're talking about these type of studies and seeing what type of correlations exist and how media has a great impact and influence on people's lives. They always say media doesn't tell you how to think, but it tells you what to think about.
What is in the future for Bronson Williams, and where do you see yourself at age 35?
By age 35, what's that, about 8 years now from here. Yeah, at age 35, I hope to be in a position where I'm being able to employ people, giving people opportunities to do things, maybe start their own business. A lot of times people have great ideas, but they may not have the creative ways of getting financing to make it happen, or having people that they give them that coach along the way to say, hey, you can do it, you can get there too. So I want to see myself employing people. Want to see myself having different media outlets, whether it be television stations, radio stations. There's a lot of things I want to see happen by age 35, and I'm sure I'll accomplish those things. There'll be small little short-term goals along the way that'll come up that I want to try to accomplish those things too, because you never, there might be a long-term goal, but then there's several short-term goals you got to try to make along the way.
In closing, I asked a question in my introduction. What does a college student, an entrepreneur, and a 27-year-old man all have in common? And your answer is
Bronson Williams.
Bronson Williams.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
They all have determination.
Determination.
And those people.
So that goes back to the key to your success, then, determination.
Certainly. That's what, in order to be a successful entrepreneur, you got to be determined. To be a successful college student, you got to be determined. And to be just a person in general, you got to be determined to strive. The Bible says you got to press towards the mark of a higher calling who's in Christ Jesus. So that pressing there is all about determination, all about striving to reach a goal. To know where you are today, but realize that you can be somewhere else tomorrow, and increase. It's all about increase.
That's a good note to end on, Bronson. Thank you so much for having me here, spending the whole Saturday with you. As I said in my introduction, you are a person of interest, one to be on the lookout for. I really do believe that you are just steps away from becoming that multi-millionaire. Now, I said millionaire in the beginning, but it's multi-millionaire now. And when you hit that mark, I'll be right there to share. Thank you for joining me on location in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. This is Akela Thigpen, and I'll see you the next time.